Access to information allows the public to seek and receive information from the government. However, in many countries, this ability is deliberately obstructed by governments who are in power. It must be noted that lack of access to information is not in and of itself corruption, but rather it allows corruption to occur and continue behind closed doors. Proper access to information means that all government information is open by default, unless there is a justifiable reason for it to not be so, such as to protect national security. Being open by default means that information that is held by the government is accessible, clearly communicated, and usable without restriction. This is contrasted with the traditional method of governments gatekeeping information through a sort of closed by default approach. For a government to be open by default, 3 principles need to be adopted. Number 1, the government acts as a custodian of information. What this means is the government does not own public information, and their role is limited to storing, processing, and managing public information. Number 2, the government must proactively disclose information. Instead of waiting for requests for information from the public, the government should take the initiative to publish documents and information for public access more easily. And number 3, information must be accessible. What this means is, when information is published by the government, it must be done so in a clear and understandable format. Additionally, the process to obtain information should be simple, clear, facilitated by the government itself, and affordable, or even free. With access to information in place, the public will be able to access information and documents held by the government, such as the use of public funds, which could enable the public to detect instances of misuse of public funds, government contracts and procurements, which could encourage decision makers to avoid making improper decisions, and general information about government policy, which would enable members of the public to better understand how their government operates. When information transparency is absent, it could indicate that decision makers and people in power are deliberately trying to obscure corrupt practices. Here are some red flags to look out for when it comes to access to information or the lack thereof. Number 1, information is incomplete or vague. One way of avoiding public scrutiny is by omitting information that could reveal wrongdoings or misconduct. This could look like publishing budget documents without a detailed breakdown of expenditure. This could leave the reader in the dark about how exactly these funds were utilized. Number 2, obstructing access to information. Governments may choose to withhold information in order to avoid people learning about how exactly certain decisions were made. A very common way this is done is by classifying documents as confidential or top secret, thereby blocking access to these documents. And number 3, restricted access to the decision-making processes. When it comes to decision-making in public policy, it is important to have access to information to ensure that these decisions are being made using fair, sound, and reasonable judgments. If a government insists on having closed-door hearings or making decisions that are not open to the public, there might be cause for suspicion. Let's picture a scenario. Let's say you're walking home from work and you find that the public park that you used to spend your childhood playing in has been closed off. A printed sign on the gate simply states that the land has been sold, with no further explanation. Weeks later, a towering billboard appears in the middle of the park, stating that a luxury condominium is being planned to be built on that location. You soon discover that the state has sold off the land to property developers without any form of consultation with the local residents. In this scenario, a lack of access to information enabled a public park to be demolished without any meaningful notice to local residents. Members of the public were left in the dark and did not even have the opportunity to mobilize to save a communal space. Now, this is all very important to us because fundamentally, access to information is critical in preventing corruption. By reducing secrecy, ensuring accountability, and empowering members of the public. Access to information also works towards better governance, as government officials will be more likely to follow proper procedure and make decisions in the public interest when they know that their decisions are being scrutinized by the public. Ultimately, access to information builds public trust in the credibility of government itself.